you beautiful faces to round 7 tipping. We have got an absolute monster long weekend for Anzac round, a very important round, lest we not forget. We've got some huge games. We're going to go through our tipping last week, and then we're going to go through the tips this week. We've got new graphics, so let me know in the comments what you think of them. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. So last week wasn't a great week for tipping for myself. Only 5 out of 9. Not the best for Uncle Pom. But we had a good week, and I've got you a new limerick for it. So let's go and give you a recap of the tips you may have got wrong last week. At the Gabba, the Lions, they got slapped by a pie side that appears now fully unwrapped. Dacos was dancing, McStay kicked a few. Brisbane looked like they barely had a clue. Carlton on Friday, they were ruthless and slick. Gave North a shellacking, proper and quick. Zach Williams lit it up like a Friday night dart, and George Hewitt tore midfields cleanly apart. Over in Perth, the Eagles came out the blocks fast. But Essendon's Big Peter Wright said this won't last. 6 snags on his return, but Draper, he went down. Bombers held firm till that beautiful siren sounds. The D's finally woke up from their early season nap. Keziah Pickett, he set some traps. Freo chased, but they came out just too late as Gon took control and the Demons sealed their fate. Adelaide and GWS in wet weather, complete mess. More drops than goals. It was a sloppy contest. Dawson and Co find a way to grind, while the Giants forgot how to kick up the line. And at Marvel, the Tigers turned up the heat. Dimmer's curse? Yes, it definitely is defeat. Taranto starred and the Suns got done. Richmond's fans reckon finals could be fun. Port in Sydney played hot out of the gate, held off a Swans team that surged again too late. Rosie and Butters, their class no doubt, while Sydney keep leaving their wins in a drought. The Saints started fast, then dropped off like a cliff. The Dogs went bang, and Bond, he looked stiff. Bond came back and brought the pain, but poor young Darcy did his knee, and the Dogs have to find a replacement again. Then Easter Monday cave as an absolute thriller. Sean Manor the Cat turned into a match winner. Danger was class, and Smith stirred up the crowd, and Hawks fell short, but they did their mums proud. So that was round 6, a ripper with no jest. From the West to the G, we got served some of the best. If you lost a game or finals seem out of queue, don't worry. There's some more fixtures coming just for you. And there we are. There is round 6. So let's get straight into the exciting stuff of round 7. And we start off here with a ripper at the MCG. Melbourne Demons up against Richmond tonight in what is an absolute belter of a contest. On paper, it has to be said. You never know if these are one of the bottom couple of sides facing off in what is an absolute stormer here. The last 5 games, obviously, Melbourne have only won 1. Their record is 1-5. The Richmond, they're coming off a win, 2 wins, round 1 and round 6. As you can see, fairly even contest as well on the stat sheet. Not much pretty reading. Both teams love a triple figure score against. Average points as well. They're pretty close in the historical contest as well. We're going to go here. Melbourne win this one 78-65 in a game for me that is really hard to decide, isn't it? It's one of them ones that it could go either way, but we are going to tip the Demons in this one to get the job done by 13 points. And then we head off we stay at the G, but we've got first on the ladder versus 11, the traditional Anzac Day clash, a game that always is one for the neutral. Pies, 5 in a row, only that loss coming in round 0 against GWS. 3 in a row, though, for Essendon. They will be quite confident. You can see here, probably the big standout here is the overuse of the ball in this, and the turnover scores are hugely weighted, with the forward half scores hugely weighted in Collingwood's favour. Collingwood scoring free-flowing, but no one's talking about their defence. It's really rigid. You can see here 5 wins from the last 10 meetings, a draw, and 4 wins for Essendon. Very tight in the average points. I'm going to go with 102.70 here, the Pies. I think the Pies will get the job done. No Sam Draper, ruck issues there. It's going to be a real entertaining one. A real entertaining one, that one. And then we head on over to a new territory, Optus Stadium, WA. Fremantle, coming off the back of a disappointing loss to the Demons, but they did have 3 wins before that, albeit 2 of the bottom sides and an injured doggy side. A very interesting one, this one, at home. You would favour the Fremantle, but Adelaide, 3 in the last 5 they've won, a loss to the Cats, a controversial loss to the Suns. Traditionally a very tight game, but when Fremantle win it, as you would expect with Fremantle, a very, very narrow score, to be honest, where Adelaide, they can put on the numbers. This year, the tail of the tape, Adelaide have been free-flowing, very similar defences, but that back half of the ground, looking at their forward half pressure as well from the Dockers, with the turnover scores, you've got to give Adelaide the favour here. I'm going to tip the Crows to get the job done out in WA with a big, big win. And then we are live for the Fremantle game, but we are also live for this game. St Kilda versus the Lions. I'm looking forward to this one in the afternoon. You can see both sides move the ball incredibly similar. Both sides have scored pretty well. But this more aggressive game style from Saints has hemorrhaged points against, as that defence is a vulnerability. Interesting, though, that Saints do start well. It's finishing off their work. They've had 2 losses in a row to GWS where they got shellacked. They got shellacked against the Doggies. They did beat Port. They did beat Richmond. And they did beat Geelong as well. So they were on a 3-game stretch. They were going really well. Brisbane, they lost to Collingwood, but 5-1. They have been pretty sensational aside from that. This one, though, is a real interesting one because not much separates the sides, really. If you look at it, not much separates the sides. I am going to tip the Lions, though, in this one. I just feel like the Lions, they ain't going to lose 2 in a row. And at Marvel, I feel like they'll be okay. Then we head on over Adelaide Oval. Great place to go. We love going watching an Adelaide game. Port versus North, 10th versus 16th. You can see here, numbers there, 15.7 disposals to a shot goal versus 18. A very big using side, the North. They do overuse it. They don't get it in the mixer enough for me. 117 points against as well. Very similar points for the, but 9-1 Port. 2 wins, 112.74 prediction here. I'm going to go with the Port Power to get the win in this one, in which should be a good game, I should hope. GWS versus the Doggies, always a good watch, this one. 2 teams that you really are looking forward to at the Canberra Oval, 4th versus 8th. Probably the surprise packet, the Bulldogs with all the injuries. GWS, you can see here, defensive half, very fast, very strong turnover side as well. It's the stoppage area, slowing them down. I keep saying this. You saw it with Adelaide. You saw it with Hawks. You slow them down. You stop that free-flowing ball movement. You can get at them. If they play it on their terms, they will win. You can see here, though, the Doggies have the advantage in the head-to-head, 8 versus 2 in the last 10 fixtures. Strong stoppage game as well, and that's only going to get better with Bont. Now, I know Darcy's out of here, but I still think the Dogs can do some damage here. I am going to tip GWS with it being at the Manuka, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dogs get up on this one. Then we head to the Suns, the Gold Coast Suns, up against Sydney, 3rd versus 14th at the People's First Stadium. Very interested in this. The Suns are one of the quickest sides to generate in a shot. Very, very quick football. Massive turnover scores, as you would expect. Very strong around stoppage, and they lock the ball in the front half. Scoring goals freely and being quite strong defensively. The Richmond game might be a shock, but at the People's First, they're a different kettle of fish. For Sydney, this game's evened up, 6-4. As you can see, 2 losses, though, Collingwood and Port, do make me question Sydney. I think the Suns will get the job done here at home in what will be a solid, solid game. Then the final game we're live for this week, Carlton versus Geelong at the G. 13th place, 6th. Carlton 2 and 4, Geelong 4 and 2. And you can see here from a statistical point of view, there's some things that do stand out straight away. Carlton 2 wins, albeit against two of the statistically worst sides in the comp. 3 wins, Hawthorn, Adelaide and Melbourne in the last 5. You can see here again, disposals to shots. Teams are playing a little bit quicker. Carlton's turnover scores, not so great. The stoppage, though, starting to look very healthy. And the forward half, again, they're down. They're down, though, on all the stats, really, apart from the stoppage areas. It's going to be very interesting, this one, because they've got a strong defence, Carlton, but the way that they play, that very midfield density, doesn't let you score teams goals against. And you can see here, the average points for the Blues against Geelong are around 78 versus 92. Going to be an interesting one, this. I am going to tip against my team here. I'm going to tip with Geelong. Playing the old game. I'd rather win the tipping comp and be happy. I'd rather lose the tipping comp and be happy with my football team than win the tipping comp, then lose the tipping comp and be unhappy with my team. And then we've got Hawthorn at the Marvel Stadium against the Eagles. Not much really to talk about this. You can see again, Eagles very slow with the ball. Horrific numbers. Everything going wrong for them at this minute. They could show a little bit last week, but again, no wins. Hawthorn, you maybe give them a little bit of a chance because it's at Marvel. It's not at the G where they like to play that widespread game. It's very even on the historical, but I think this could be curtains. They'll be very angry after 2 losses in a row. I'm going to tip them big style to win this game. That's the tips then. Let me know your tips in the chat as always. I do enjoy hearing from you. Let me know in the comments who you're going for. Until next time, peace, love and light. Pom out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I